Right now on Sunrise, the prosecution has rested in the trial of Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson. Now, their lawyers will speak for the clients. What we know heading into a new day in the Crystal Rogers murder trial.
Late night activity disrupting Louisville, this time in Nulu. Now business owners are calling for more action from city leaders.
And a major medical fraud case has ties to our area. Several people now facing charges. We'll break down this nationwide case right now on Wave News Sunrise.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Hey, it's Wednesday, halfway through the week. Even better if you're off on Friday for the 4th of July.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so just, it's basically Thursday then, Tawana.
Yeah, basically Thursday. We have gorgeous weather for today as well, so a lot to look forward to weather-wise as the week goes along. Right now, we're getting to enjoy this. Check out this beautiful sunrise right now in Simpsonville, as that sun still has a little bit of time before it fully comes up over the horizon, but a gorgeous start to the day. And our storm tracker is also out and about on the roads, and a gorgeous shot of the sunrise even there on the Waterson Expressway. So beautiful morning, but as you're traveling this morning, don't forget the sunglasses and of course adjust the visor before you start driving. Your temperatures this morning are sitting in the 60s across most of our region. We're now down to 68 degrees for those of you in Frankfort, 63 now for those of you in Madison and North Vernon, 72 still though at the airport in Louisville. The humidity a lot lower than what we dealt with over the past couple of days as well. So that is a little bit of a welcome sight after the heat and humidity that we have seen. We're also talking about clear skies across the region, just like what we saw in all of those SkyTrack camera shots. Your temperature is going to easily climb into the 80s for this afternoon, but thankfully we don't have to deal with an incredibly high heat index since that humidity is on the lower side. As we get into the next couple of days, we'll see more of that heat building, and by July 4th, we're looking at highs in the low 90s for the majority of us at that point, and the temperatures just keep on climbing into the weekend. Let you know how hot we're going to get and how hot we're going to feel in my full forecast.
Thanks, Tawana. Lawyers for Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson will begin to present their case this morning. Prosecutors say the men are responsible for the 2015 disappearance of Bardstown mother Crystal Rogers.
After 5 days of testimony, the prosecution rested its case Tuesday morning. Now we'll hear from the defense and any witnesses they called to the stand. The defense argues no body, no weapon, no motive means no proof of the murder of Crystal Rogers. But Judge Charles Sims says not quite. In his eyes, there is more than enough evidence for a jury to reach a conclusion that Rogers was in fact murdered. Over the course of the investigation and trial, people have pointed out details that don't add up in Houck's timeline, including what his day looked like on July 3rd and what he and Crystal did that night. Then there are multiple witnesses who have testified that Houck asked the Lawsons for help getting rid of Crystal, plus circumstantial evidence discussed in the trial, like Brooks Houck's grandmother's car having hair with DNA similar to Crystal. Then there's Joseph Lawson. His dad's ex-wife, Rebecca Greer, testified that Joseph told her he got paid $50,000 for moving a car. Joseph was also overheard talking about burying Crystal's car with a skid steer. Our team in Bowling Green will share updates on the defense's argument starting this morning. You can follow along with our live blog on wave3.com. We update it multiple times a day. You can also get alerts on the biggest testimony statements sent right to your phone by downloading the Wave News app. A second man is now in jail in connection to a fight outside of a Louisville bar that left a man dead. Ronnie Watkins is charged with murder. Police say he was part of the fight outside of Corner Tavern on Mount Washington Road last week. The name of the man who died has not been released yet. Christopher Foley was also arrested and charged with murder in connection to the fight. Police say a witness told investigators Foley repeatedly hit the victim and claimed he owed Foley money. A third child is being charged for her alleged actions in a double shooting. LMPD says they arrested a 14-year-old girl for complicity to assault. It's the same charge filed against a 12-year-old girl and a 13-year-old girl in the same case. The shooting on West Chestnut Street sent 2 other girls to the hospital back in May. Both of the victims survived their injuries. LMPD says it doesn't expect to arrest anyone else in the investigation.
Now the manhunt continues for a man that the FBI is looking for. Federal investigators say they're renewing their commitment to work with local officers, and they have now charged 20 people from Louisville and California busted in 2 separate drug investigations. New U.S. Attorney Kyle Baumgartner says LMPD played a major role in these joint operations. Detectives say they want to disrupt criminals' flow of drugs from the West Coast into Louisville. Baumgartner says one investigation seized 47 47 pounds of fentanyl and 30 pounds of meth. In the second investigation, agents seized 130,000 fentanyl pills disguised as prescription drugs. Officers also confiscated 112 guns, and the ATF bureau chief in Louisville says many of those guns were stolen.
The majority of the 42 stolen firearms that were recovered in this investigation were stolen from vehicles. It is likely that many of the other firearms that we seized or purchased during the investigation were also stolen.
Trials for the 20 people charged have been set to begin later in July, and agents are still looking for 44-year-old Terry Matthews. Large groups of people taking over the streets late at night over the weekend, first in the Highlands and now in Nulu.
After complaints from businesses there, Louisville's mayor says there will be change in the area. ABC, LMPD, and the mayor's office will meet with those owners today to work towards a solution. These are images from Saturday, June 21st. Police say as many as 250 people had gathered outside of Corridor, Garage Bar, and in a parking lot near La Bodeguita. Officers cleared the crowd in about 30 minutes. Garage Bar offered to close early because of concerns that people were bringing outside alcohol onto their property. Mayor Greenberg says he wants people to visit stores and restaurants, but there are rules to follow.
When there are hundreds and hundreds of people that are drinking in public areas in the middle of the night, that is not permitted, that is not safe, and we will not allow that.
The mayor said businesses caught breaking the rules will be held accountable. The Nulu Business Association sent us a statement talking about safety and hiring their own off-duty LMPD officers. It says in part, quote, without more support and visible presence from LMPD, we don't see a reasonable solution to the current issues happening along Market Street, end quote. You can read the full statement in this story over on wave3.com.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says a new report shows serious crime is dropping in the state. Governor Beshear says overall serious crime rates in 2024 dropped by nearly 8% compared to 2023. The governor says that includes around 12% drops in homicides, drug crimes, and sexual offenses. The only major increase across the state, crimes connected to gambling, and state data shows that rose 1,400%.
President Donald Trump's sweeping domestic policy legislation called the Big Beautiful Bill narrowly won approval in the Republican-controlled Senate.
But some are worried about how it could impact people in our area, especially with proposed cuts to Medicaid. The Kentucky Center for Economic Policy estimates approximately 210,000 Kentuckians could lose their health care coverage over the next 10 years. That is because of the bill's plan to reduce federal Medicaid spending by $1 trillion. We spoke before about the impacts on rural hospitals in Kentucky, some estimating more than 30 could close across the state.
90,000 Kentuckians that work in hospitals in the state. Those incomes are about $10,000 higher than the average income here in the state. And when they lose their jobs, particularly in rural areas, you're talking about entire local economies suffering, not just those places.
The bill also impacts middle-class people who get insurance through the state, with another more than 40,000 that would be uninsured if the bill passes. Indiana and Kentucky lawmakers are also making their opinions heard. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul has remained in opposition to the Big Beautiful Bill's passage. Indiana Governor Mike Braun spoke about the positive impact he thinks it will make.
At least $50 billion was added for hospital fund in the end. We don't have any of that money. All of it's borrowed. All of that spending will have to be borrowed. And this bill will lead to a much greater deficit over time. And I don't believe it's fiscally responsible.
This is just the opening kind of salvo of what needs to happen at the federal level. We can't raise taxes. We got to make sure those get extended. And then we need to start spending less than we take in.
The bill is now in the hands of the House.
Federal officials are releasing information about one of the largest healthcare fraud schemes in DOJ history. We've also learned about its impacts here locally. More than $15 billion in false claims were uncovered. Police seized more than $245 million in cash, luxury cars, and other assets. As part of the sweeping crackdown, officials arrested suspects based in Russia, Eastern Europe, Pakistan, and other countries. The alleged $14 billion fraud is more than twice the previous record in the Justice Department's annual healthcare fraud crackdown.
These criminals didn't just steal someone else's money. They stole from you. Every fraudulent claim, every fake billing, Every kickback scheme represents money taken directly from the pockets of American taxpayers who fund these essential programs through their hard work and sacrifice.
Nearly 100 licensed medical professionals were charged, including 25 doctors. We've learned about the people charged in our area. 43-year-old Christina Coomer in Louisville is charged with theft of oxycodone from the pharmacy where she worked. A Crestwood man, 40-year-old Matthew Elkins, is charged with tampering with drugs, along with stealing controlled substances. 3 people, 41-year-old Ashley Barnett from Louisville, 37-year-old Laura Webb from Springfield, and 43-year-old Rachel Goldstein from Jeffersonville were all charged as well. They're accused of using registration numbers, fake prescriptions, and false claims to get drugs, including oxycodone and hydrocodone. In Madison, Indiana, 58-year-old Christy Orwig is accused of stealing patient drugs from her workplace for her own personal use.
A new report from Kentucky's Attorney General outlines what led to delays at polling locations in Jefferson County last election day. Russell Coleman's office says short staffing and internet connectivity caused delays at polling locations across the county. The report says there was no criminal wrongdoing. Now, a lawsuit was filed to extend voting hours on Election Day, but a judge denied that. The county clerk's office says the issues will be fixed ahead of the next general election in 2026. Here is Tawana taking us through the next 12 hours on this Wednesday.
And for today, we're talking about all of that sunshine in the forecast, gradually going from the 60s and low 70s this morning back into the 80s for your highs for this afternoon. So another warm day, but the humidity certainly a lot lower across the region for today. I'll talk about that, plus the rain chances trying to show up for parts, but not all of next week after the break.
Thanks, Tawana. It's 6:10 now on your Wednesday morning. Louisville leaders are working to cut down on copper wire theft using some new technology. A look at the change ahead.
And with summertime comes an increased need for blood at hospital, how organizations are working to keep up with demand, and how you can give today.
A quick check at our traffic map showing everything's all green right now. Not seeing any traffic issues out there. Nothing slowing you down for your Wednesday morning commute.
This newscast is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Now, Wave News.
The Indiana State Fair is just 1 month away, but they're already giving us a look at some of their fair food that they're offering this year. Embrace yourself for this.
Yes. Some of this looks really yummy. Okay, how about a passion fruit boba lemonade shake-up? We've heard of the donut burger, but now Hoosiers have a bacon honey bun burger. I love honey buns. That sounds good. You can also try the all-vegan Indianapolis Philly, and maybe you're really adventurous. What about the pickle fried Oreos? That's a golden Oreo and a slice of pickle, then fried in batter, topped with dill seasoning and served with ranch.
I don't know if I can get on board with that. Just give me regular pickles or regular fried Oreos. But here you go, a super sweet treat for the adults. Could be the blue cotton candy margarita, and it's garnished with real cotton candy. Really getting your fair fixings right there. The Dirty Dancing egg rolls are chicken Philly egg rolls covered in homemade hot honey lemon pepper buffalo sauce. And then finally, a staple of state fairs is a classic funnel cake, but this one is covered in Butterfinger pieces and vanilla ice cream. I mean, all
that
of
sounds
that,
insanely good.
very unique.
Very unique.
But I'm sure they're all very good, too.
Yeah, I mean, if they want us to taste test any of these things,
send it our way.
Yeah.
We are great taste testers for anything. Just keep that in mind, y'all. Just throw that out there. For those of you heading out this morning, we're keeping an eye on the roads, of course, but also on the skies, and we're not seeing much in terms of clouds overhead as of right now. Your temperatures are certainly cooler across the region. You're now down to 63 in Salem, 67 for those of you in Fort Knox and Bardstown, 66 for those of you in Shelbyville, LaGrange, and into Jeffersonville at the airport in Louisville, currently at 72 degrees. A lot of us are back down into that humid category. Recently, a lot of us have been in sticky or miserable categories in the morning because of that higher humidity, but with that northerly wind in place for today, that's certainly helping to keep us not just really less humid, but more comfortable across the region. Going to keep that lower humidity as we head into this afternoon and even into tonight as well. We'll really feel it once we roll into tomorrow morning. As I mentioned, clear skies across the region right now. The cold front that was responsible for yesterday's rainfall now off towards our south, and high pressure fully in control of our weather. Most of us just starting off the day with clear skies, but in a couple couple of spots, especially for those of you who got a little bit more of that rainfall yesterday. You are dealing with a bit of some patchy fog. It's mainly patchy. It's very light across the area, so it's still there, and we'll watch for it. But now that that sun is over the horizon, we'll watch it mixing out, especially as we approach the 7, 8 o'clock hour for today. Getting into the afternoon, highs in the 80s with all of that sunshine across our region. Keep in mind your heat index will be basically the same as your actual temperatures heading into the afternoon because of the lower humidity. Now for tonight, we are going to return to those 60s in most spots outside of the metro. In the metro, looking at a low near 70 degrees as we get to enjoy a little bit more of that lower humidity. Looking ahead to the next 10 days, we will see your temperatures gradually climbing, including for the 4th of July. Highs in the low 90s then, but with the humidity increasing, we're going to feel more like the upper 90s on Friday, near 100 degrees as we head into Saturday and Sunday. So we'll see that heat wave really building over the weekend, and then we watch that heat bubble bursting for the first half of next week, allowing more of those scattered showers and thunderstorms to come into our forecast. So we have a near daily rain chance as we get into next week, but it's really just going to be more of those isolated to scattered thunderstorms coming back into our forecast then.
Thank you, Tawana. 6:18 now, and it happens every summer. The blood supply in the U.S. dips as people get away from their routines and fewer blood drives are held. The American Red Cross says it really needs blood year-round. The organization says the disruption in the summer, schools being out, vacations, and more lead to the shortages, so they're trying to keep up with the demand, calling all donors to give. While all blood types are needed, type O is especially in high demand.
It used to be thought that type O negative was the only blood type that could be given to people in an emergency, but we actually know that even O positive can be given safely to about 80% of the population who needs blood.
If you would like to donate, you can make an appointment. You can visit the American Red Cross's website. Also, you can use their mobile app.
The Red Cross is holding a blood drive in our area today with the annual Stars, Stripes, and Pints blood drive. You can roll up your sleeve at the UAW Union Hall on Fern Valley Road today. The Red Cross will be out there from 10 o'clock this morning to 4 p.m. The Red Cross says that while it might be something people simply say they don't have time to do, giving blood can make a real difference and save lives.
It's a minor inconvenience for those that gift of life that you're actually giving. A little bit of inconvenience so that someone can get that much needed surgery, that child can get that treatment that they desperately need.
If you donate, you'll get some free perks, including a chicken dinner, a ticket to Six Flags amusement parks, including Kings Island, and a pair of sunglasses. We'll be right back with more Wave News Sunrise right after this.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots. The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.
Well, this is crazy. The group behind a crazy stunt in Kentucky is talking about the viral moment.
And you've probably already seen this on social media. I know I did. It's being sent everywhere.
Wow.
Look at that. Event leaders in Somerset say they think more than 30,000 people watch this. That's a General Lee model from the classic TV show The Dukes of Hazzard, jumping over the town's fountain. Videos showing the stunt on Saturday have been going viral across social media. It was part of the 25th anniversary of Somerset's Summer Nights Cruise series. The driver of the car says since the jump, everyone's been wanting a piece of the machine.
It's a part of history now. It is the most famous car in the world. Probably over 100 people fighting for it because they want to buy it. So, we're going to sell it.
Some leaders in Somerset now estimate this jump stunt could give the town an economic boom worth millions of dollars.
Wow, that's crazy.
I am stunned by how close people are.
Me too.
I would be keeping it close
Absolutely. I mean, because he landed, he could have veered off. Totally agree.
That's a huge crowd there too, an iconic moment.
That's totally my takeaway from it. Also,
it's scary.
Scary, but kind of awesome, though.
Awesome too.
Right? I mean, I would have loved to be there, but I would have been like on a roof or something.
Right.
Instead. But hey, maybe you're just trying to feel that kind of an awesome vibe for today. Hey, we're going to be talking about lower humidity, highs near 90 degrees, plenty of sunshine. Now that humidity will ramp up once we get into the weekend as highs return to the mid-90s, so we're going to feel like closer to 100 degrees for Saturday and Sunday. Rain chances return as we head into next week, but it'll mainly be in the form of those isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms that we typically see popping during the afternoon and evening. But towards the end of next week, that is when a cold front can try to bring more of those showers and thunderstorms into our forecast. So we'll keep an eye on that as we head over the next 10 days.
Thank you, Tawana. The city of St. Louis is launching new recovery programs to help residents impacted by the deadly May tornado. The May 16th tornado killed 5 people, left thousands with damaged homes. The new program will address electric outages, provide technical guidance, and protect homeowners, too, from fraud. And it includes cleanup support, free electrical assessments and repairs, architectural consultation, and a contractor registry.
People are applying for or recognizing or really inputting that they need this service. So if you have applied or put in through the St. Louis City, stlouisrecovers.com website that this is a need that you have, or you have logged it through United Way, you are already on a list and you should expect to get a call or a contact from this program.
The damage to homes from the EF3 tornado is estimated to be in the billions. And that same weekend, a deadly tornado also hit southern Kentucky, and that killed 19 people.
The 4th of July weekend just a couple days away, and there's good news for drivers out there. The price of gas hasn't been this cheap since 2021. According to Gas Buddy, prices at the pump are expected to average around $3.10 per gallon nationally. That's down from $3.49 per gallon last year. AAA is predicting a record 61.6 million people will travel somewhere during the holiday weekend. That's up more than 2% from last year. In Kentucky, AAA says the current average for gas prices is $2.87, well below the national average. And AAA also helping you avoid the crowds by giving you an idea of when you should leave. For today, tomorrow, and Friday, the best time to hit the road will be before noon. Get an early jump. On Saturday and Sunday, drivers will want to travel before 11 a.m.
6:26 now, and just days after that deadly ambush left 2 firefighters dead. First responders around the country are talking about the dangers on the job. Coming up in the next half hour of Wave News Sunrise, Kentucky crews explain how they keep each other safe.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Good morning, 6:30 right now. Livy and I in the Weather Center. We're taking over the computers here.
We're not qualified for this.
No, we're
not.
not.
We don't know what we're doing. That's because meteorologist Tawana Andrew is outside in the weather garden, and you should be scared about what we're touching over here, Tawana.
I think it'll be fine. I mean, if anything, that just means I get to go home. So I'll be fine. So if you're heading out this morning, the big thing that I noticed as I'm out here is how pleasant it feels. Looking outside on our SkyTrack camera, you can see the blue skies overhead now that the sun is up, and even with that low humidity, we feel so nice right now. We're going to keep that lower humidity throughout the day today, even as highs climb to near 90 degrees. Plenty of sunshine back into our forecast. So the sunglasses, a t-shirt, the sunscreen, and of course stay hydrated with that water bottle for today. Now let's talk a little bit more about that humidity, because while it's going to be on the lower side for today, it does ramp up gradually as we head into the holiday weekend. So for those of you with outdoor plans this weekend, keep that humidity and the heat in mind. You want to make sure that you're staying safe even as you're enjoying the 4th of July holiday. We will eventually get some rain chances coming our way once we get into next week, but over the next 3 days, it's really just going to be about that heat gradually ramping up with highs back into the mid-90s once we get into your Saturday and Sunday. Ladies.
Thank you. People gathered on the streets and highway linking Spokane, Washington to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to watch a procession honoring 2 Idaho firefighters who were murdered in a weekend's ambush. A motorcade of emergency vehicles accompanied those carrying the bodies of Coeur d'Alene Fire Battalion Chiefs John Morrison and Frank Harwood on a more than 30-mile procession. And their deaths have firefighters in Kentucky thinking about how they can improve their own safety. Major Lisa Johnson with the Clay City Fire Department near the Red River Gorge says she's already reached out to police and state leaders to see what gear or training firefighters can get to better equip them in an emergency. She says while there are policies in place for responding to cases of someone who is facing a mental health or drug-related crisis, firefighters still need to be prepared for anything.
EMS and all of us need to be trained together in situations when something like this comes up. What do you do? How do you handle it? Because many times you're walking into homes not knowing what's going on behind that door. Where the police know the tactics, what to do, we do not.
Johnson also says Lexington changed its policies after firefighter Brenda Cowan was shot and killed in the line of duty in 2004. Johnson says she hopes rural departments can have the means to do the same.
New on Sunrise, Kentucky Auditor Allison Ball released a special examination of the Kentucky Department of Education. The review comes after a bill passed in 2024 requiring an audit of the KDE. The auditor's review found the Department of Education allowed $250 million in SEEK funds to lapse instead of reallocating that money to cover funding shortfalls. Auditor Ball also highlighted the department's diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, efforts, calling it a waste of money. She said there has been no noticeable difference in student outcomes. The audit also found the KDE and KHSAA are not mitigating the risk of sexual harassment and abuse of student athletes. Auditor Ball says following this audit, the KDE created resources for sexual assault prevention and awareness. The report says the KDE and Kentucky Board of Education lack measurable benchmarks for gauging student success. She adds the State Board of Education is failing to oversee the KDE. Eastern Kentucky University and Nicholas County Schools are teaming up to tackle the teacher shortage. The district will now offer scholarships to para-educators, helping them earn a teaching degree from EKU in just 3 years. EKU's Dean of the College of Education and Applied Human Sciences says they make great teachers because they're classroom ready.
Getting more of them is really one major path forward to solving our teacher shortage. Research has shown that the most important factor in a child's education outside their family situation is the teacher.
She says Nicholas County is hopefully leading the way for others.
A woman claims LMDC staff denied her HIV medication in detention and says she'd like to see changes inside the facility. Sasha Sloan is now suing LMDC and Louisville Metro government for physical injuries and emotional distress. Sloan claims she was denied her medication and became seriously ill while in jail for months in 2024. The lawsuit also alleges an LMDC officer told other inmates Sloan was HIV positive. That led to harassment. Sloan says no other inmate should have to suffer the same experience.
That when you go down into that system, it's nowhere near what you expect from safety, sanity, your physical. It's not that way, and I think it needs to be brought attention to so there could be change. I'm not the only one, definitely not the only one, but I pray the last.
An LMDC spokesperson says they cannot comment on pending litigation, but did say LMDC routinely administers HIV medications to those with valid prescriptions. Wave News reached out to Louisville Metro government also to get comment on the lawsuit. We have not yet heard back.
Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg says plans to stop copper wire thieves in the metro are working. Greenberg says things like new tampering devices on streetlights and other electrical equipment have helped alert police to potential copper wire thefts. The mayor also highlighted a new state law that makes it a felony to steal copper wire from critical infrastructure. Joseph Halbert was the first person charged with this new felony in May, and Greenberg says the policy sets a new standard.
We will continue to catch them, we will continue to prosecute them, and hold them accountable to stop these actions.
There's also a new tip line to report copper thefts. If you see one, you should call 582-CLUE. One of Kentucky's top health leaders says a lack of measles vaccinations is to blame for the state's current outbreak. The Cabinet of Health and Family Services is tracking 5 measles cases in Woodford, Todd, and Fayette counties. Cabinet Secretary Dr. Stephen Stack says teams are working to contain the highly contagious virus. Stack says if you're fully vaccinated, you have nothing to worry about. Stack also says negative conversations about vaccines in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic have put people at risk.
I believe there's nothing more important to a parent than the safety and well-being of their child. I think it is a tragedy that people in leadership are confusing the public and casting doubt about the value and the safety of vaccines when the medical establishment overwhelmingly, slam dunk overwhelmingly, supports immunization as one of the most powerful things humanity has ever done.
CFHS has a hotline for people to call about measles cases. That number is in this story on wave3.com.
In Indiana, a pack of cigarettes now carries a $3 state tax, up from $1. For a carton, the tax has climbed from $10 to to $30. And this increase is hitting consumers' wallets. Both those who buy and sell cigarettes think it could mean big changes for them. Indiana lawmakers passed the measure as part of their new 2-year budget, aiming to generate revenue and also discourage smoking. Shop owners are worried customers might cross state lines for cheaper prices or just cut back on how much they buy. Those at the Main Street Smoke Shop say they're preparing for a challenging time.
Because I wasn't expecting them to go up like $3 or whatever they did. And then, yeah, I've had some people come in, they were like, how much are the classics? Because they don't have a price on them right now. And then we'll tell them they're like $7, $8. And they're like, oh, what's the cheapest you have? And it's like, yeah, we can already see that they're going for the cheapest ones that we have on the shelf.
Indiana state lawmakers say the long-term impacts will be increased revenue to fund different state programs, and they hope the higher prices will also cut down on smoking, especially among younger people. Here's Tawana taking us through the next 12 hours.
And before we even do that, I just want to show you this. This is a gorgeous sunrise showing up on our SkyTrack camera in Simpsonville. Yeah, I was nerding out about it, and I really just wanted to share it with everybody this morning. But in addition to that gorgeous sunrise, we do have that lower humidity in play for today as temperatures return to near 90 degrees for a high for this afternoon. I'll talk a little bit more about, of course, the lower humidity for today and that heat wave coming our way for later on this week after the break.
Thanks, Tawana. Still to come on Wave News Sunrise. We know the weather can sometimes be a headache, right? But there's actually science behind getting a headache because of the weather. We'll explain coming up.
And no headaches when it comes to traffic this morning. Everything looks like it's smooth sailing. A nice green traffic map to start your Wednesday.
Well, we're just 9 days away now from the PGA Tour making a stop at Hurstbourne Country Club for the ISCO Championship.
And the local players on the tour are already feeling the excitement. St. X grad Steven Stallings played college golf at UK. He even went to St. Patrick with me growing up at grade school there, so he's really local. He played in the ISCO tournament when it was held just outside of Lexington. He says the opportunity to host this tournament was something the city of Louisville couldn't pass up.
I thought it was a great opportunity for the city of Louisville. I mean, I think Louisville needs pro sports, and I think Louisville will sell it out, and I think the PGA Tour will only want to grow in the city of Louisville. So I think it's just a cool opportunity for the town.
Plenty of tickets are still available. Plus, they can be purchased at iscochampionship.com. We'll also be there for some of the fun on Wave News Sunrise, so be sure to tune in. I am so excited for that.
I know, me too. Okay, more than 37 million people in the U.S. have migraines. It can be caused by different factors, including weather. And doctors say they can be influenced by the sudden changes in barometric pressure.
They say this is especially noticeable when we go from temperatures in the 50s and 60s all the way up to the 80s in a short time span. Sudden rain and storms can also affect pressure. Doctors say while there is a lot you can do to treat them, there's not one solution that works to help prevent migraines for everyone.
And then really you have also the abortive or the rescue therapies that are available. And migraine patients typically don't respond well to over-the-counters. So there are all the triptans that are available, they're prescribed meds. And now we have those new abortive monoclonal antibodies, different than the preventive ones. They work wonderful for patients. DHE is available. So again, really there are so many options now. We've seen a revolution of treatment since 2018 in terms of what's available for this patient population.
Doctors suggest identifying any triggers, then see what can be eliminated or changed, like avoiding certain foods or making sure you get more sleep. Dehydration can also cause migraines as well, as Tawana is over here nodding her head.
Yeah, y'all know that I deal with migraines pretty often every time we get one of those cold fronts moving through, which is a very weird thing as a meteorologist. I can tell when the weather is going to be changing.
Right. So that's how you base your forecast, though, right?
Yeah, but it also makes it hard when I'm telling the forecast and my head's like throbbing. So it's just one of those things. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself. And yeah, hydration is going to be a big thing over the next couple of days. I'll talk about the heat ramping up for the holiday weekend in just a bit.
I'm good there.
Yeah, she's fine. She's just fine. Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your forecast. And this is such a gorgeous shot from our storm tracker. Shout out to our photographer, Flynn, for getting this beautiful sunrise shot. We have the sunrise, we have the bridges, we even have some ducks there in the foreground. Just an absolutely gorgeous way to start the day. And it doesn't just look good outside, it feels good as well. We're down to 62 degrees. Yes, 62 for those of you in North Vernon, 68 in Frankfort, 64 for those of you in Hardinsburg, and 65 degrees right now in Corydon. Of course, as usual, warmer at the airport in Louisville at 72 degrees. Our sticky meter has most of us down into that humid category. So a big change from the sticky category where a lot of us were dealing with that yesterday. So we're already feeling the difference with that drier air moving into our region. And we're going to keep that humidity on the lower side for this afternoon and into tonight as well. So while we haven't completely gotten rid of it for today, at least it's a lot lower so we can enjoy the outdoors a little bit more than what we've really been able to over the past couple of weeks. Clear skies across the entire region to start off the day. That's because the cold front that moved through yesterday is now well to our south. High pressure now fully in control, and with that area of high pressure to our west, we're getting that northerly flow pulling in more of that drier air into our region. So overall, we're looking pretty good, even on our Kentucky Mesonet cameras. But notice that we do have a little bit of that patchy fog here and there in some of these cameras, especially in those spots where we ended up with some of that rainfall yesterday. This is where that patchy light fog is showing up as of right now. But once we get further into this morning, especially after around 8, 9 o'clock, as temperatures start to rise, then that fog will quickly mix out. We'll get plenty of sunshine overall throughout the day today as we climb to near 90 degrees for a high in the metro. Outside of Louisville, you're mainly talking mid to upper 80s for your afternoon highs. And then for tonight, we're turning to the 60s for lows in most spots, near 70 in Louisville, and getting to enjoy a little bit more of that lower humidity. Looking ahead to the next 10 days, the heat really ramps up, especially for July 4th and into the upcoming weekend. And it's not just your actual temperatures going up, but the heat index will also be on the rise because of that humidity increasing. So by the weekend, we're going to be feeling like closer to 100 degrees yet again. Thankfully, the humidity won't be as high as what we dealt with the last heat wave, but you still want to make sure you're taking care of yourself and your pets as well in this incoming heat. Now, looking ahead to next week, we are going to be talking about more of those showers and thunderstorms back into our forecast. As of right now, these mainly look to be those scattered afternoon storms for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But as we get towards the end of next week, an incoming cold front can really help to increase our rain chances a little bit more, and we'll monitor that trend over the next 10 days.
Thank you, Tawana. Well, we've seen crashes involving motorcycles regularly, with one as recently as last Friday that killed a man in Louisville. Now, new on Sunrise, an organization is working to support families of crash victims. Dacia Moore, the founder of Fallen Bikers and Riders in Cincinnati, says she started the organization 3 years ago to support family members of those killed in crashes. She says these tragedies hit the entire community, and the group is a place for friends and family struggling with the loss to find comfort with one another.
We provide additional resources afterwards because it's easy to show up in the initial, during the initial time of loss. However, a lot of families need long-term assistance, maybe some grief counseling or some how to move on.
It's just really, really, really hard for those families who are losing their loved ones.
If you'd like to connect with the group, they have a Facebook page, and we have a link to that in this story on wave3.com.
A new warning from police after investigators say a man robbed someone he met on Facebook Marketplace at gunpoint. LMPD says Jonathan Enders met with the victim who was trying to sell their car last month. Police say Enders took a test drive of the car and then pointed a gun at the victims and ordered them to get out. Enders drove off then. Police were able to track him down using information the victims had about the car and Enders. He's now charged with robbery.
Here's a look at the big stories we're following today from around the country and the world.
President Trump's sweeping domestic agenda bill is one step closer toward a full House vote. Early Wednesday, the House Rules Committee voted 7-6 to advance the rule on the bill. The panel had spent nearly 12 hours debating the legislation. The entire House must now vote on the rule in order for the bill to come to the floor for a final vote. If the House is able to adopt the rule, the next steps would be to debate and then final passage.
A hearing in the Idaho student murders case is expected today. Brian Kohberger is accused of stabbing 4 University of Idaho students in their home in 2022. The lawyers say the deal would allow Kohberger to avoid the death penalty With it, likely Kohberger will be sentenced to life in prison and waive his right to appeal. In Idaho, judges can reject plea agreements.
The jury in rapper Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial is trying to come to a final decision today. For now, they've reached a verdict on 4 of his 5 charges. Jurors are stuck on the top charge, racketeering conspiracy. If Combs is convicted on the racketeering conspiracy charge, he could serve life in prison. The jury is expected back at 9 a.m. And CBS's parent company Paramount Global and President Donald Trump have reached a $16 million settlement deal over a lawsuit alleging election interference ahead of a shareholders meeting today.
We'll be back with more local news with your Wake Up Watch List right after this break.
6:53 now. We're following all of your top stories today in the Wake Up Watch List.
Lawyers for Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson will begin to present their case this morning. Prosecutors say the men are responsible for the 2015 disappearance of Crystal Rogers. After 5 days of testimony, the prosecution rested its case Tuesday. Now we'll hear from the defense and any witnesses they call to the stand. We have a crew there in court in Bowling Green. You can follow along with our live blog on wave3.com.
Large groups of people taking over the streets late at night over the weekend. First in the Highlands, now in Louisville. These are images from Saturday, June 21st. Police say as many as 250 people gathered outside of Corridor Garage Bar and in a parking lot near La Bodeguita. ABC, LMPD, and the mayor's office will meet with business owners there today to work towards a solution.
A new report from Kentucky's Attorney General says short staffing and internet connectivity caused delays at polling locations across Jefferson County last Election Day. The report says there was no criminal wrongdoing. The county clerk's office says these issues will be fixed ahead of the next general election in 2026.
The Red Cross is holding a blood drive in our area today with the annual Stars, Stripes, and Pints blood drive. You can roll up your sleeve at the UAW Union Hall on Fern Valley Road today. The Red Cross will be out there from 10 o'clock this morning until 4 p.m. Here's Tawana taking a look at our hot forecast.
Yeah, but at least it's going to be a beautiful day. This is just a shot from the storm tracker of the sunrise on the waterfront, and it's absolutely beautiful this morning. So we get to enjoy all of that sunshine throughout the day. Temperatures this morning in the 60s in most spots, so feeling pretty pleasant, especially with that lower humidity. We're going to watch temperatures increasing into the 80s for later on this afternoon, keeping all of that sunshine around. Once we get into tonight, we'll return to the 60s in most spots. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, we do see those temperatures gradually rising, ending up in the mid-90s over the weekend, and that is when we'll also get that heat index back to near 100 degrees. So with all the 4th of July events going on this weekend, it's important to keep that heat in mind. Then as we head into next week, some isolated or scattered showers and thunderstorms will come back into the forecast as we keep some of that warmth around.
Taking a look at traffic this morning, everything looks great on our traffic map. Not seeing anything that would slow you down out there. No issues, no crashes, and it doesn't look like we have any stalled vehicles right now. So let's keep it that way for your Wednesday morning. Just make sure you have your sunglasses and the visor adjusted on your car. As you can see, quite a sunny morning out there.
Yeah, that sunrise this morning is gorgeous.
Beautiful. You want to look at it, but you also don't want to look at it because your eyes can't handle it.
A glance. Yeah. A glance. Don't stare at the sun, even though it's very pretty.
Or just look at the pictures. Look, this is nice and orange.
It's just gorgeous. We told you it was pretty. Gorgeous. Thanks so much for waking up with us here. The Today Show is coming up next.
And we'll be streaming on Wave Now. Stick with us at 7 o'clock.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more, all for free with Wave Now.